by refinement. Okay. Again, I'm redoing all the videos that I've done. I guess I started about 2 years ago from the book that God dictated to me, Isaiah 53 in the day of the Lord. It is filled with more knowledge than any rabbi, sage, Jewish theologian has ever known in the history of the Jewish people. Things they just simply don't know. And I point out a lot of things they got wrong. And a lot of things they do wrong. They do a lot of teaching man's word over God's words, even conflicting with what God says. In particular, the Messianic era, which Rambam, he simply made it up. Just like in the Mishnah Torah, just like his 2 chapters, the laws of King Moshe. You can't find that in the Hebrew Bible. That's just what he decided it would be like, and he made it up. And the world speaking Hebrew comes from a misinterpretation by him of a few verses in Zephaniah. No, the world's not going to speak Hebrew. Can you imagine 1/3 of the world's China? Or East Asia, I don't know what you call it. Can you imagine all of them speaking Hebrew? How'd you like to teach them? So. Amen. Yeah. It can't be done. Why would you preach it? In particular, God's not saying, now if God said it, I'm going to have everybody speak Hebrew. And you figure, well, you better come down here in your power and do it. Because Moshe can't do that. That's just a little over the top. It's above his pay scale. Yeah. So I'm redoing it. If you follow these particular, I put in parentheses CH for chapter, what chapter it is, and oftentimes if they're too long, I'll break them into part 1, part 2. Chapter 9, which is something that should not be missed, because that was a heck of a session we had. I was all over the place. I kept trying to stick to the script, which is God's Bible, new book, Isaiah 53 in the state of the world, and it is scripture. It's just not canonized. Not to say it won't be one day. Look, I got God behind. This is God's sign. I just always figure, as tough as it's been, and as bleak as it looks, it's going to end up working. And he's the one having me put this video on right now. He decides what I do, when I do it. I have no self-will. Nothing is up to me. I don't have self-thought. Now this will happen to you in heaven when you don't have a brain. It'll seem like it's you thinking. You'll notice it's a little different. But, yeah, he's the information of my mind. He'll be the information of your mind in heaven. Except he's known me since birth. So he's got more information on me than anybody else on the planet. And that's why it's a Jewish heaven. A heaven with the name Israel shall endure. Okay, judgment day comes. God decides what Jews are going to heaven. Jews from the day of the Lord, they get something special. Yeah. But you got to get into the scroll of remembrance. And, nicely, right now, there's no rabbis in it. Not a one. No, God appoints me. It's on one of these. It may be in 9. No, he appoints me, Moshe, righteous servant Moshe, as the only teacher he recognizes. And what do I teach? Well, I'm doing it right now. I teach the new books. And it brings Judaism into the common era. today. Knowledge, information, medicine, science. See, in Rambam's time, Rambam put together the 13 fundamental principles of Judaism. And number 13 is the resurrection of the dead. You must believe it. I want to know if they really did. You can say things, you can say, I believe it. But do you really? Well, I've been here a long time, and I am Moshiach, and that is supposed to be a sign. Then I have to go build a temple by myself, apparently. This is Rambam. It don't work like that. I'm either going to be accepted, heeded, and listened to or not. I can tell you what land God wants. I can tell you what the temple is to look like. He'll have me type it. Just like for the tabernacle. Somebody, I guess it was Moses, wrote it down. It's an exciting time for the Jewish people. Unfortunately, you've been blinded by your rabbis. Blinded. The world would love the Jew. Well, what do I got to worry about? Never again, never forget. There'll never be another Holocaust. Girls going to love the Jew. Exalt the Jews. They're going to disavow their own gods and say, we, the Jewish people, have been right about God all along. I don't think it's going to happen. What about you? You think 2 billion Christians, 2 billion Muslims are going to disavow their gods? That's what your rabbis teach.
Oh, here's your,
no.
your tacos.
Thank you.
All right.
That was my sister. Yeah, my parents were in their 90s, and me and my sister we're all on Social Security. Now, it was pretty grim a few years ago, the first 13 years. I filed when I was 63, and I turned 66 yesterday or the day before. God failed to alert me to that. But he did tape a good basketball game, but ultimately, he didn't let me watch it. So, God, he's a blessing and he's a curse. The backside. Moses, I'm going to show you my backside. What do you think that is? Here's God. I call it the white hat and the black hat. He can be the greatest guy, the most, so much good in him, you almost melt being around him. And there's over here with the black hat, cowboy hat. Mean, evil, perpetrator of heinous acts of cruelty to his servant. I like him to be about here. I'm not too much on the goody-goody. Unfortunately, he seems to be stuck about 3/4 down here. It's up to him to change it. He can change it. He can say, I want to be the goody-goody. I want to be over here. But he's just not inclined to do it. I don't even know where I am right now. What are we talking about? Share these videos. This is what is going to tell people God is back according to Malachi 3 as he said he would be. Jesus said he was coming back 10 different times, 5 different times, and then 5 of it will be quickly, it will be quickly. It will be quickly, it will be quickly. At the end of the Revelation. Now here's Jesus. Now, when you're born, your generation is everybody alive. Right then, that moment, at your birth, everybody alive is your generation. When everybody alive at your birth dies, your generation's over. And every one of his prophecies ultimately say, it will happen in my generation. 5. There are members of you, my 12, that will see me return. The people of Caesarea, there are those amongst you who will still be alive when I return. You high priest, you shall see me return. But what's the other one? Anyway, there's 5, but my favorite. And why read the Revelations in the New Testament. Why read it? It's a bunch of garbage anyway. Most people think he was mad. This Paul, they don't know if it's Paul from the rest of the New Testament. They don't know for sure. And chapter 1, verse 7. And this is Jesus speaking through an angel. And I see, or a spirit, I think it's an angel. Angel of God. They picked up on some things Judaism still didn't get to today. Angel of the Lord's in the burning bush and God speaks. Have you ever tried to figure it out, Rabbi? Well, of course, I already have the answers and I've already given them out. So you can't sneak them in on me because I probably taught you. Toby a singer, Michael Skoback. Oh, God's all, no, that's not key. The words that come out of here start up here. He up here, that's the Holy Spirit. Well, I can't sing them. I hear their voices. He's up here. God's over here. Now you can't do that to us, expecting you to remember. Let's get started. Hey, again, this is his show. This is his video. And I guess he's showing how well he can manipulate me and have me think the thoughts he wants me to think. And that's it. And the thoughts you think is what you speak. Except oftentimes, I speak words and there's no thought process. And I see that's something you got to, I've been with him for 16 years now, being trained for this. And communication's a big part of it. His power is a big part of it. His ability to even control my emotions. He said, Keith, I made emotions. So I can do anything I want with them. I said, well, could you keep them kind of on the high side? Yeah, if you don't mind. I'll take physical punishment over emotional punishment any day. Any day. I hate that emotional stuff. And lately, I'm still on the fire of refinement. And lately, there's been a lot of, I can't remember a word. He's trying to frustrate me. You know, always seeking emotion. Because he says, the day's coming when I'm going to seal off your emotions so that you can be the most perfect you can be in dealing with my people. You know, he told Ezekiel, I'm going to make your forehead, your face is brazen. As the Jewish people. Harder than adamant, like flint. Do not fear them and do not be dismayed by them. This is why you go into the fire of refinement of big 6 words from 53. And yes, I realize fire of refinement is not mentioned in 53. You can't figure it out until I tell you. It's like finding Waldo. Go to Ezekiel. He went through the fire of refinement. He matches a bunch of the verses in 53. He didn't get his choice though. The Spirit seized me. I went in the bitterness and the fury of my spirit in the hand of God. So he's in the hand of God. And he's bitter and he's furious. That's not what you would think that means. Yeah, no. He's in the fire of refinement is where he is. I have been bitter and furious on many occasions. And proud of it, too, because I didn't hold back. I took the pain that came with not holding back, too. But eventually, it has changed me. You know, he looks for characteristics. You know, nobody's born a prophet. He looks for characteristics in the people. He looked for characteristics in the Jewish people before he chose them. He chose Moses. Well, where do we first see Moses? He's killing a man. He's murdering. In anger, just because he was angry, he killed a man. And he's getting in fights later on. He realizes he's going to be caught. Does he give himself up and go to what I guess would be his father, Pharaoh, and say, look, I made a mistake, see? No, he runs away like a coward. Doesn't accept responsibility for anything. I mean, he's a terrible human being when we need him. But then we love Moses. We know what he went through, and nobody knows what he went through as well as I do. Because at the end of his life, he was the most humble, it is said, man on earth. And you don't really get humble with everything he did and God living with you. People perceive humbleness through you by your actions. And that I am. I don't laud myself over anybody. I've always been the B- student. If I really try hard, I can do better. But, like for a test, I've got to read the material and I got to try to summarize it in my mind and write it down. That's how I would study for a test, including in law school. I put a lot of time into becoming a lawyer, and then in one moment, God tells me, you're never practicing law again. And I love the law. I love being an oil and gas lawyer. What I do is I'd go to small towns and go to the courthouse where they keep records of every will, anything that transfers property, deeds of trust, anything that and then somebody dies. Well, that's a transfer of property. So you got affidavits of heirship and again wills. And it's my job to make sure everything is perfectly as it should be and the oil companies lease the right people. Because if you don't get everybody, then somebody's got a free ride on your oil rig. Again, I'm in Texas. And I loved it. And I get back home and I make an ancestral tree. Big chart, it starts with this guy in the late 1800s. He dies this, that, and the property description's awful. But you got to figure out that you got to know your property's within it. The big boulder by the elm tree, starting point. It's like, I hope you end up here. Let's see what you got next. And I'll tell you what, Jeremiah 31, you'll find the same thing. God starts talking about the parameters of Jerusalem in antiquity. And what I say is, it's a lot bigger than it was before. So I don't care what his parameters are, because you can't tell. It's one of the worst descriptions you're going to find as a title lawyer. But I also learned about ancestral trees. And of course, the kings of Judah are easy. It was always father died, son king. Father died, son king. Father died, son king. Not true for the northern kingdom. Samaria, Israel. No, they had people come in and fight and defeat them and take over, or somebody who wasn't supposed to be king became king. Yeah, you can't use them. We got one ancestral tree. And according to the New Testament of the Christians, he's on it. Their star. The myth, Jesus Christ. Yeah, he's a myth. Nobody can tell you that with more clarity than me. No, there's only the God of Israel. Abraham, Jacob, and Isaac, Abraham, and Jacob. Okay, I know I've been talking too long, but this is real short. That's why I have. God creates and he forms. The God of Israel has come to this earth. He's here. He said he's coming. Jeremiah 31 says, you got a covenant with him. He's here. He's going to have me deliver 2 covenants. The God of Israel has come to this earth to dwell with his anointed one, Moshe, that's me, and the Jewish people in Israel. Friendship covenant, I shall place my temple amongst you, my eternal temple. My presence will be over you. The nations will know God sanctifies Israel. You will no longer be the taunts of nations. That's it. There's your Messianic era. Go read Rambam's. Go listen to what these rabbis teach. That's it. You get God back. You know, be happy with that, okay? I still think it's better than the Messianic era. Everybody in the world but to worship God with the Jewish people. Yeah, what did I say there? What you have me say? Keith, you need to go to synagogue. Yeah, and don't come back. Live the rest of your life there. Yeah, I don't think so. I got other things to do, Ma. Has come to the earth to dwell with his anointed one and the Jewish people in Israel, as he once came to dwell with Moses and move about and among the tents of the Israelites. And if you've read the previous chapters, you know what that is. He creates the man of Isaiah 53 and forms his righteous servant. Just as he created Jacob and formed Israel for his purposes. He created the universe, the earth, and humanity, including Jacob and the man described in Isaiah 53. He then forms Israel and the righteous servant for his purpose. Oh, that's what it was. I just remembered. I was talking about the characteristics of the people he chooses. I'll try to get back to it. He formed Israel with covenants and the names Hebrew, Israel, Jew, and 613 laws that define and refined the Jewish people in the oppression of the world, primarily for being the chosen. People just can't deal. You know, I'm getting the same thing. Oh, how could he be Moshe? What is he? Hebrew and Jew. This is chapter 14. I'm going to try to get them together. It's very short. A fugitive brought the news to Abram the Hebrew, who was dwelling at the terebinths of Mamre, the Amorite, a kinsman of Eshcol and Aner, these being Abram's allies. No one is a Hebrew until a fugitive brought the news to Abram the Hebrew, who becomes Abraham, of course. In the fortress Shushan lived a Jew by the name of Mordecai, son of Lair, the son of Shemel, son of Kish, a Benjamite. First Jews of Benjamites, technically from the lands of Benjamin, not Judah. No one is a Jew until Mordecai is defined as a Jew. Mordecai the Jew is of the tribe of Benjamin, and his people are the Jews. The name seems to be a form of the word Judah, but the tribe of Judah and the lands allotted to Judah have nothing to do with the word Jew. I hear that all the time. Jew comes from Judah. No. Jew comes from Hebrew. What is it in with? E-W. See the connection? Is a special word, this Jew. Special word. Just as Hebrew is a special word, words from God for God. The word Hebrew is like the word Jew in the Bible. Both are simply introduced into God's stories. These names identify God's chosen people throughout the world, just as religious ritual, faith, and manner of dress identify them. God formed Israel in part to test the world. And the people, Israel, had to be identifiable. These names and 613 laws did just that. And the world failed. Did they not? Holocaust? Pogroms? What happened in Spain? Always trying to stay alive. It's suffering. And see, that's why I'm going through so much suffering. God, before you ask God to come talk to you, you better remember this. God thinks suffering makes you stronger and better. And that's why he won't let up on me. He says, well, you can't be too strong. You know, what the Jewish people have gone through, and they're still here. And they stand strong. I told you I went to some conversion classes until my dad had a heart attack. I don't think Gentiles really get it. They are powerful in their religion. Powerful people. I mean, they love God like no other creature on the, more than the Pope. A Christian can't touch it. A Christian didn't go through anything. These Gentiles didn't go through it. They have no history. What's their history? We had a human guy, sacrifice for us. So, we pretty much do whatever we want. That guy we sacrifice, he always forgives us. Yeah, his name's Jesus Christ. Yeah, what have we done? Now, of course, I know humanity has done a lot of things, and Gentiles have been a big part of it. The Jewish people only being 2% of the people of this earth. Which is why, even my videos, I mean, my market, and not only do you have to be a Jew, it's 2%, only 30% are observant, and then those observant, how many are interested in 53? It's better, I get the impression the Jewish people kind of avoid 53 in Malachi 3. 53 because it can sound like Jesus. Malachi 3 because of the word utter destruction. I know the rabbis don't talk about it. You know what you do? If you listen to a rabbi for an hour, and all he talks about is utter destruction and bad things that can happen. You know what happens when the plate comes by you to donate? Nothing. But if you say you're going to live forever, there'll be no pain in the world. Nobody has to work. Everything will be to worship God. Now pass the plate. Go pass the plate. Hey, that was great. I feel uplifted. Here's a 20. Right? And God holds them to a higher standard. I can tell you the two in the biggest trouble because they are the biggest hindrance of me getting God to Israel. Because he's not going without me. I'm his prophet like Moses. This would be like, say, Moses, go to Egypt by yourself. He didn't. He told Moses, I'm going with you and I'm coming back with you. It's the same with me. Just a repeat. We got a temple to be built. The exiles, they got forgiveness of sin. They built the second temple. There's nothing complicated about this. But I know there's so many books and everything that everything can get convoluted. Nobody more so than the Christian. They got so many weird ideas that have nothing. There's nothing in the New Testament. And you get this chapter 12 I just did. Can you believe that? They inserted Jesus into a prophecy of Isaiah and stuck him in the Hebrew Bible. I never hear you anti-missionaries talk about it. Yeah, well, God wants his wrath on them, and I'm the head man. I'm the leader on that. For the servants, y'all want to know what to do? You ask me. But you want to please God? Don't pray so much. Go out there and stomp a question. It's vengeance. The Messianic era will be a time of peace. Well, how about God's going to have a reckoning with rabbis? He's going to take his wrath to the Christians, and his very first word is, the day of my vengeance and redemption arrived. They leave vengeance. You can't find it. Go up to a rabbi and say vengeance. I bet he can't do it. Okay, special orders, the names, 13 laws, and the world failed. Here's the closer. God changing the name Hebrew to Jew, both ending in EW, may have more to do with the Jewish people being in exile than anything else. Shortening Hebrew to Jew to account for marriages outside of the